So our warm-up topic of the day is actually going to be GDC, the Game Developers Conference, because I did see that Unity actually recently put up their schedule for GDC, where they're going to be, they have a Unity Developer Summit going on, where they're just have a bunch of talks related to upcoming features and released features, and talking about all kinds of different things in here. So I do just kind of want to talk about this briefly here in our prefetch section. So if you do want to check out this schedule yourself, you can just go to the GDC website. Under conference, there is the session viewer, and that'll basically bring you to this page here. Now GDC has like hundreds of sessions going on, so you kind of got to filter it down so you find what you're looking for. Of course, there's a search thing, but if you just type in Unity, well, you get all the Unity talks, but you also get all the talks that have like community in the title, because Unity is part of the word community. So that's fun. So what I typically do is you can scroll down, and then under format, if you just check mark the sponsored developer summit, then that pretty much gives you all the Unity talks. There are a couple other developer summits from Google and Meta, which actually have some kind of interesting talks that I might be attending. So yeah, I do plan on attending GDC this year. By the way, the nice thing about the sponsored talks is you can get into the talks at any pass level. So if you just have, the base Expo pass, or, Core Pass, Summit Pass, or whatever, you can get into the Unity Developer Summit. So you don't have to pay for the, $2,000 all access pass or anything like that. So anyways, I just kind of wanted to talk about some of the talks here. So the first one that I wanted to talk about is the roadmap session. So this is kind of the first section that they're doing Monday morning, which is just kind of, it's called Unity 6 and Beyond, a roadmap of Unity engine and services presented by Unity. So of course you can go ahead and read the full description, and they talk about, some of the things that they are going to be discussing in this, and you can kind of read through and you can see that they were talking about things related to the render pipeline, shader and VFX graph, some of their AI tools, because that's something that they're putting a lot more kind of focus on. Interesting that they also call out some of the multiplayer center and multiplayer tools, because they're kind of putting more focus onto their own out-of-the-box multiplayer tools, which I think in general is a good thing. And of course, the whole services division, which they're putting a lot of resources towards as well. So as far as dots go, I just want to kind of bring this up here. The only thing that's really mentioned about dots and ECS in this whole thing is it says, while Unity 2022 LTS had a great focus on performance with dots, see how Unity 6 adds to that with huge leaps in graphical fidelity and many more advances to come. So I kind of take this as there's probably not going to be a whole lot of dots specific things in the roadmap talk. It sounds like most of the things that they are going to be focusing on is just kind of, especially things along the lines of graphics fidelity, again, multiplayer features, AI, stuff like that. So that's kind of what I'm taking of it. Do you have any kind of thoughts on that there, Tobias?
Yeah, I mean, there is some dots feature that people have been asking for a while, and maybe they are not in the chamber all yet in Unity 6. Which is kind of sad, but I think part of it is like we have a solid foundation for most of the dots things. Maybe they're like, let's build more advanced stuff on top of it and make sure that we are keeping equal pace with some other industry giants doing cool stuff, and we need to be doing similar cool stuff. That would be my sort of way of looking at it. I don't know.
Yeah, and definitely. And we're going to be talking about some kind of upcoming dots features a little bit later. But I do agree that in general that dots is decently featured right now. But I think that there are certainly a bunch of bugs, especially when it comes to like editor bugs and usability things that ideally I would like to kind of see cleaned up and be a little bit more polished, so things are just a little bit more pleasant to work with, I guess, especially when we get into things like using netcode for entities, just because there are kind of some just interesting quirks and stuff in there. So I would like to see a lot of those things kind of get ironed out. So, I don't necessarily, I'm not necessarily looking for any like, crazy new features. Of course, there's, one feature that I think everyone would like to have. I think the one that you were kind of hinting at was dots animation, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the one, the elephant in the room has been for 3 years.
Yeah, definitely. So, maybe we get a little teaser on that during this show. But I think that would be pretty cool. Anyways, that's kind of the main roadmap. Do you have any other kind of thoughts on the roadmap stuff?
No, I'm just happy that they are, doing strides forward and not being lazy, I guess. It looks with the words "huge leaps in graphic fidelity." I hope they're not overhyping it, but probably it's going to be some really impressive stuff. And that's graphics tech is always very fun to see worked on and get new fun toys to play with.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you're interested in graphics tech, then Unity has a ton of things for you as far as sessions go. Like if you could just kind of look through some of the sessions. So the one immediately after the roadmap session is going to be called Reach a New Level of Performance and Rendering with Unity 6. Moving on, you have Create Eye-Catching 2D Art with Lighting Effects and Techniques, High Fidelity Graphics on Mobile, creating beautiful natural environments with Unity and SpeedTree, customize your renderer, best practices for building successful web games. The ton of
there's a lot.
Graphics things, 20 productivity hacks in Unity. I think that could be an interesting one as well. Let's see, Unity Developer Summit Multiplayer 101 development with our Mega City Metro sample. Kind of getting into some of the multiplayer things, getting ahead of the free-to-play treadmill with engaging content, Unity Muse accelerating prototyping and the Unity editor with AI, Unity Developer Summit drive better gameplay experiences on Unity or on user devices with AI. So again, a couple more AI talks. We're going to get into this one because it's obviously a core part of the show. Talking about the bring order to the DAM content chaos with Unity Cloud. I forget what the this DAM acronym is something. It's something asset management. I think they kind of talked a little bit about it at Unite. Where they kind of are giving some better asset management utilities in Unity, and then talking about game monetization. So yeah, those are kind of the main ones. Again, you see that there are a lot of ones related to rendering, some multiplayer stuff, a couple AI talks. The one that I skipped over because it's the one that's most relevant to this show is this one here, which is the Unity Developer Summit, the Great Data Bake-Off, Improving Performance with Dots Baking. So I thought this was really interesting. They do have one specific talk on dots. It's a 30-minute talk. And this is happening Tuesday afternoon. I guess the idea with this one is, I'll just go ahead and read this full thing off here. So it says, attend this session to see how you can maximize your game's performance using specialized features of Unity's data-oriented technology stack, DOTS. This includes baking, a crucial process that converts scene data into entities and components. You also learn how to benefit from configurable components, custom allocators, and other features that help you with performance optimization, more efficient memory utilization, and effective debugging. So definitely, I'm going to be at this talk for sure. But yeah, it's really interesting that they, the one dots talk that they're doing is specifically on baking. So it'll be interesting to see if they have, anything new on baking that maybe we haven't seen before, or if they're just kind of giving us some better insight into kind of being, I guess just using baking to its kind of full potential. Do you have any kind of thoughts in general on this?
Yeah, I have one. This is total speculation. So I guess both you and me maybe have not that experience because we're not working big enough project content wise to see a baking
Hmm.
issue, baking performance issue. But I know that there was a lot of issues on in V Rising with the, well, a lot of issues. It was just slow and just a lot of tedious loading times all over the place.
Sure,
I
yeah.
don't know how they managed after upgrading to the dots 1.0 and forward, but maybe they, I know they obviously been in deep tight talks with Stanlock about their work progress and the work like work pipelines,
Right, right,
because
right.
in V Rising and Stanlock is one of the first purely very very much dots focused type of game of that scale. So maybe this is like, oh, the baking thing doesn't really hold up when you put as much stuff into it as V Rising is. So we're gonna speed it up, and maybe this is something, but probably not that specific. But it could be a contributing factor. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the cool things that Unity does is they work very closely with a lot of their, power users and people like that, and like just get some like good insight into some of the issues that they're having. See how people are kind of working around that, and they really kind of take that feedback into account to make a better product overall. So I definitely think it's a good idea that Unity does that, and I guess you can kind of think of it as like almost like what NASA does, where they like create all these like really crazy nice inventions for people up on the space station, and then we just kind of regular people end up seeing benefits from some of that technology. Like for example, I think like Velcro is just kind of like one
yeah,
of the classic examples of something that was originally like had a purpose in the International Space Station, and of course this is widely used everywhere now. So
yeah. It trickles down from the places where it's actually required to even make it work. Uh,
exactly.
yeah, so yeah, yeah, that was just that's what I thought about first. I remember Zek, one of the programmers at Stanlock, showing me the time it took to like reload the prefab and change something in a prefab in V-Rising. This was long ago, like 2.5 3 years ago,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it was a lot of loading screens, and I was like, yeah, okay,
Mm.
baking needs some work maybe on large scale projects, but I don't know how it is after 1.0. This was in 0.17, so it might have been completely different now.
Right,
Yeah,
right, right, right. Yeah.
so yeah,
So yeah, that is really interesting. I'm very much looking forward to this talk, of course. I don't think it says, yeah, it doesn't say who is giving the talk yet, but that'll be interesting to see. And so again, this is available to anyone who has the, Expo Pass or anything like that. Last thing that I wanted to bring up, which was GDC related, which is another talk. This is not a Unity talk. It's not a sponsored talk. So you do need to have either the All Access Pass or the Core Pass to get into this. So unfortunately, I think I'm just doing the regular Expo Pass this year. So I don't think I'll be able to get into this talk. But this one's called ECS in Practice, the Case Board of Alan Wake 2. So I think this will be a very interesting talk. Hopefully this gets onto the GDC Vault at some point. It's talking about the recently released game Alan Wake 2 by Remedy Entertainment. And so this says they're using a new data-oriented ECS gameplay framework instead of the previous object-oriented one.
hmm.
So as a result, we have performance gains such as cache coherency, multi-threading out of the box. Looks like they're using some C++ features. So yeah, this is kind of more of a custom-built ECS framework as opposed to using one like Unity's. So it would be really interesting to see kind of how they tackled some of these problems that they did. It does show in here that they said they'll showcase the interaction between C++ code and Lua scripts. So yeah, I think there's kind of some interesting things here. I guess they're going to be going into the case board where they use objects and components. I haven't played this game, so I'm not super familiar with the case board here. But yeah, I think that'll be another very interesting talk to just kind of see how other people are doing data oriented things.
Yeah, yeah. I would I would watch that if I get access to it at some point.
Yeah, 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 yeah.